And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series live from Valencia, Spain, our third circuit event of the year. But don't worry, we've got plenty more StarCraft to come today and tomorrow as we make our way to finding our next champion. Will it be Cyril, or will it finally be someone else? I'm Nathaniel, joined on the desk by Maynard and In Control. In Control, you told me that you thought that this would be the tournament where someone else does finally win.
I didn't say that. Fake news.
But if you did, who would it have been?
Well, I'm a big fan of Neeb, and he's playing pretty good. Survived Bly there. Although every time Neeb opens his mouth in an interview, I'm always like, He's like, well, no, I'm going to get crushed by ShoWTimE, who's going to beat Clem, I guess. And I'm like, yes, I feel really confident. If that's not the case, Maynard, it's sad that Raynor's hitting Cyril, because I would love to see Raynor go deep or something like that.
Yeah.
On the other side of the bracket, you know what? Just for my boy Artie McTosis, how sick would Haz cannon rushing his way to the finals
Haz
be?
WCS champion, Maynard?
Oh my God.
I mean, this is the world we live in where it could possibly happen. I don't believe in it. I don't think that he's going to be WCS.
If he wins this tournament, he'd probably win BlizzCon too, right, guys?
Kellizer is going to dunk on this fool and make a he'll do it. We're still looking for some guys do some celebrations on that stage. Kellizer?
Can we get Kellizer a basketball?
Can he do it?
Can we get him a basketball and have him literally dunk on stage?
Harston's going to do it. If Harston beats Nurture, I bet we got a good Harston celebration coming up.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Our next series coming up is going to be Clem versus ShoWTimE. Neeb has already predicted with his very depressing interview that ShoWTimE would win this
that
match.
Neeb interview, yeah.
I went for younger brother versus older brother, but you went all the way to father and son in the last desk segment. It's quite a gap for these two.
You know what? I think that Neeb's getting a little far ahead of himself. Like you said, In Control, I'm with you there. I think that
so?
It's actually... Clem is not favored to win this series, but ShoWTimE does have a mental block when it comes to Terrans at the moment. He's been really complaining about the matchup. He's having a rough time against Terrans in general, so I'm thinking that Clem actually has a shot.
Yeah, and I agree.
Clem's a soldier of the future, I feel. Like when I see his games, I see a very strong, good player. Round of 16 here is incredible. It's really nice, but I don't... To be honest, for me personally, it doesn't inspire a lot of... I don't see like really dominant Hero Marine 3-0 type of performance. I don't see the Raynor like reacting to your opponent and monster moding them anyway kind of stuff. I see an extremely talented, awesome 16-year-old boy, but I think ShoWTimE's got to have this in the bag. Mental block or not, this is a really great draw for him. And then he goes up against Neeb, who's already predicted himself to lose against ShoWTimE. So I feel like ShoWTimE's got to be feeling really good right now. We're in the best of 5 part of the tournament too.
Maybe. I mean, we get to look at some of the highlights from the games that ShoWTimE has played, and of course, Neeb was able to defeat him yesterday. But that other stat, he did lose to Clem in WCS Austin.
Yeah.
Clem does have what it takes. I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that Terran vs. Protoss has definitely gotten better since the Marauder attack nerf was reverted, giving back a lot of that mid-game firepower for Terrans in this matchup.
No, I mean, nothing really has changed. I just feel like we're seeing, I think best of 5 is a tall order for Clem. I don't want to hate too much, by the way.
Going into the best of 5 does remove a lot of the variance that we see.
ShoWTimE's looking good. He prepared really hard for this tournament, as he has for everything. I mean, to be honest, again, I don't want to like quadruple down on this and be like, Clem stands 0 chance. Of course he stands a chance. He's been playing great. He's beaten ShoWTimE in the past. I'm just feeling ShoWTimE. I think he advances here.
I think he's favored, but I think Clem's got a real solid shot. It's going to come more to stage experience, I think, which obviously ShoWTimE has a lot more of. Just going to be composed. If he can be composed, I do think he's going to destroy Clem.
Okay. ShoWTimE came into this tournament hoping to improve his results after that WCS Austin. That was a little bit of the background story that was heard. How much does it mean to ShoWTimE to make it into the round of 8, even if he were to lose a close series to Neeb? Definitely needs to get that. I feel like a lot of these players, after what Mana did to everybody on that half of the bracket.
I think this is a huge ordeal, Nate. I think you hit the nail on the head. The bottom half of this bracket is wide open. I mean, we've got a Harston, a Nurture, ShoWTimE, some of these guys who have had amazing results in the past, but it's been a little while. And without your Cyril down here, without a Neeb who's playing in God mode, some of these guys, I think it's pretty wide open. There's a few players down here that could really clean house and find themselves in the finals of a WCS stop in a WCS, by the way, where Cyril's already won 2 stops. So winning is, of course, an auto ticket, but just taking second or third could get you to BlizzCon.
I feel like everybody there should have some hope since Cyril is on the other side of the bracket. Yeah. Without further ado, let's head to the stage to introduce the 2 players for our next series with Smix.
Thank you, as always, Nathanias. It is my pleasure to introduce our next 2 players. We already saw one 16-year-old make it to the round of 8. We'll see if the other can do the same as he takes on one of the best Protoss players here in Valencia. Give it up, it is Clem and ShoWTimE.
Oh my God, the height difference.
Yeah.
ShoWTimE's like, in a couple years, hair will show up on your chest.
I've been crunching some numbers though, Nate. I do have an important stat.
We have new crunched numbers.
Yes. This is a big one for our fans back at home. Artostis, after the first series of the day, said, we are due for a lot of 3-2s from this point forward. And I am so happy to report we've had exactly 0 since then. Which indicates, and I've crunched these numbers, this should be a one-sided affair, one way or the other.
Okay. Twitch chat seems to agree with you in control, heavily favoring ShoWTimE. Maynard, you gonna play devil's advocate or no?
I tried. I really did. I wanted to just make this matchup be the reason why ShoWTimE has a chance of not winning the series, but it's hard to favor the, Clem, who had, he went to Home Story Cup and he actually, had some pretty sick series, but I do feel like the heavy favorite is ShoWTimE. I'm kind of running out of ways to say that ShoWTimE's going to very likely destroy him. Because it's just about composure, and ShoWTimE is probably the most composed person I've ever seen.
Yeah, the stage experience, I think, is a totally fair and reasonable thing to bring up. Yeah. Do you guys have any other final thoughts on this series before we jump into it?
The only check back I'd give is that so far Valencia has been really wonderful in the upset category. We haven't had as many, I would say, in the round of 16 here, but the Moreno brothers earlier, we've had these young guys really showing up. If Clem beats ShoWTimE here, that's an amazing, amazing feat, and that'd be really cool to see. So I'm kind of rooting for it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm cheering for it.
Yeah, Neeb, another player that's actually had some weird weak spots in PvT. If Clem were to defeat ShoWTimE, still makes that round of 8 match really awkward.
For sure.
All right, well, we're going to get into this next series. Ladies and gentlemen, Terran vs. Protoss coming at you. Let's jump into it.
All right, our best of 5 is ready to go. This is Clem versus ShoWTimE, a veteran versus the young rookie Clem, but I'm very excited to see how Clem's going to perform here. I think he's got a good shot. This guy has a bright future ahead of him, and I think this could be a big splash if he makes it through here today. Introducing our first player, in the bottom right, in the blue, he is Clem! And his opponent here in the upper left, in the red. Make some noise for ShoWTimE!
A rematch from WCS Austin. Back then it was Clem that was able to claim that victory. And ShoWTimE, he seemed decently confident, I would say, for somebody that's not always, the most confident guy out there. He's one of those players that in the best of 5 will have very refined build orders on each map. That's kind of what he was echoing when I talked to him just before this matchup there. And Clem, he was training against DNS earlier because DNS had to face a Terran. Actually, it was Germany against France in both. We had DNS against Hero Marine and here ShoWTimE against Clem. So they kind of trained together. Clem was not doing well at all in those training games, but DNS has a very different style than ShoWTimE, so we'll see if maybe some of that training pays off, but definitely makes me feel a little bit worried to have seen what was happening in those games, because Clem wasn't finding any success back then.
It's interesting to see the way that ShoWTimE plays. I feel like ShoWTimE is one of the most disciplined and focused StarCraft 2 players in Europe, and somebody who's steadily improving. He doesn't, I guess if you had to put Haas on one side of a scale, you put ShoWTimE on the other, right? They have very, very different approaches.
Yeah.
ShoWTime's, and I'm not saying one is even better than the other. I think what Haas is doing at this tournament is really incredible.
Yeah.
Maybe Artostis is right that, in fact, Haas could get top 4, but but with ShoWTimE, I think it's tough to trip him up.
Yeah,
I don't think ShoWTimE gets nervous. I think
he does a lot of things right. Like he's one of those guys that works out. He Did you see his posture? That
Oh, I
guy
know.
hasn't slouched ever in his life.
Oh, no,
Not
it's
once.
crazy.
Not for 1 second.
Where the rest of us sit like we're cashew nuts or something. I mean, it's rare you see a player that can actually sit up straight. Yeah, no, he like takes care of himself, and he seems disciplined. He has a good practice regimen. So this is sort of like a final form pro gamer. Just barely finishing the command center.
Oh, he could block. Okay, no, there's Marines anyway. The Reaper came back as well to defend against this. Going to be able to take out one of the Marines before getting out of there. ShoWTimE getting the good scouts. Can I be like, you know that there's going to be a defactory into the starport a lot of the time there, but being able to see it, you're able to put it in pictures so much better. You're able to time it so much better. You know when you want to get your units and where they're going to have to be for the defense or even counter-attack in this case. We see 2 additional gateways here from ShoWTimE. He's already been pretty aggressive and actually gets pushed back here. But
nice job there by Clem, hiding the Widow Mine right there, just at the top of the command center. Taking out the first Adept, taking out the first Stalker. Look, this doesn't mean that Clem's winning, but it's definitely a good start.
Yeah, France is defending so far in this matchup there. Actually, will lose his Reaper. ShoWTimE from there. We'll see exactly what he goes into. That Widow Mine still being revealed here. We'll buy a little bit of time and repair that to make sure it doesn't fall. A Viking actually on the way here for Clem. So he's fully expecting that War Prism, or maybe he wants to cover his bases. Did he see the Robo?
No, he did not.
So just
we're
in case,
seeing here.
if it were a Stargate, it's also going to be helpful to have a Viking because you're out on the map. You can catch that Oracle, do a lot of damage to it already, maybe take it out. But in this case, against a War Prism, it's also going to be useful. It looks like ShoWTimE really wants to be aggressive, maybe with a lot of Stalkers there.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised that ShoWTimE's going to come out here. He doesn't quite have a lot, and Clem is definitely ready for this. So this could actually go very nicely here for Clem.
But he's going to warp in Stalkers 3 by 3, and he can pick them up to save them. That's the thing. We don't mind if they get revealed after they've blown something up, so I think he just wants to do some economic damage. Like, this is not meant to kill a Terran, but if you can kill a bunch of SCVs, force them to be pulled away from the middle line, you've done something right.
Okay, we have that moment coming up here now. The War Prism is looping around. We don't quite have a shot here. Looks like he's actually going to come back with the rest of those Stalkers. After seeing that
recalled for one Viking?
Yeah.
That's so sick.
That's great here. Now, let's see how much damage the drop does here inside the main. I don't believe I see a Widow Mine anywhere here. So he will get the initial unload. Now, this may be an attack where he doesn't want to do a huge warp, and he just wants to just try to snipe off some SCVs, get a few little victories.
Yeah, that Viking needs to come back. If he lowers the HP on that War Prism and then takes it out with a Viking, this would be huge. Following it up.
Oh,
actually,
man.
following it.
I think it's actually stuck now. Hold on. It's going to loop back around. Coming over to the side. I think Clem might have missed the mark there. I think he had a better chance to try to intercept that.
That was a great turn here from ShoWTimE to go kind of towards the left-hand side. He's going to be able to escape, I think, with this now easily. Robo Bay on the way here from ShoWTimE, so he's going to be able to choose between Disruptor and Colossus. We've seen Disruptors actually being used very effectively by some European Protosses, including Harstem, over at Home Story Cup, so maybe we see some of that here. But Clem, for now, he's defended well enough. You know, he hasn't lost like a million SCVs or anything. He's still in it, 42 walkers to 48. And it's not like you need to scout that third base either. You know it's always going to be there from earlier than you take it.
That's one of those moments where the game is really not about intel at all. Now, this is very good stalking over here, no pun intended, with ShoWTimE completely sniping out that Liberator. The Liberator doesn't do any damage. But we're going to need to see something from Clem coming up here. Now, for the time being, he's just powering up. We see the 2 eBays are about to finish. ShoWTimE's in the phase of the game where he can start incrementing out his Robo units. The third base economically has started to kick in, so he's going to pair that with several gateways. And we're going into Colossus tech now, along with Zealot Leg. So what ShoWTimE is doing is great. It's certainly standard and proper, but this is kind of what we know ShoWTimE for.
Yeah, this is what you would expect from him, exactly. And the fact that he saved the War Prism, that's going to be such a threat as well, which Clem has to keep on his mind. There could be a War Prism flying into one of his bases at any time, warping in additional Zealots. So he kind of has to worry about that. Like, you want to be attacking there eventually. Like, if you don't, obviously it's really bad, then you let the Protoss, take a 4th base, get full upgrades, maxed out army, and then that becomes a lot harder to win the game. But for now, I don't think Clem's going to be comfortable enough to go for a massive attack just yet. We see him adding more barracks, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to upgrade more than just that 1-1, so he's going to need to start an armory. And just going to sit back for now.
By the way, Clem, making me think of TY, always scanning and taking out every observer that's over him here. Clem is definitely a player that can have a solid push here. I'm curious, though. I feel like tactically, especially when we have a traditional Protoss composition, ShoWTimE's just very good at moving out on the map. He knows when to pick a fight, when to run away, when to counter in here. For instance, with the War Prism, he's definitely leaving that option open as well.
ShoWTimE is very good at transitions. In the late game, he always knows when to go for Tempest, how many to get. He barely makes a mistake. He will never rush Storm too early. So it's very hard to beat him in a game like this where you're playing standard and trying to beat his solid style, but it feels like that's what Clem wants to try here. It's also his kind of game, to be honest.
Nice job there dodging that mine. Now, Clem is being a bit distracted. We have the two armies just outside of each other. Now, let's see where ShoWTimE's attention is. ShoWTimE getting ready to back up. We do have an engage starting here, but it doesn't look like the siege tanks and Widow Mines were set up. So ShoWTimE does a little bit of damage and then walks away. Meanwhile, back at home in Clem's base, 25 SCVs have already been killed.
That is so much. ShoWTimE bought a whole bunch of time here as well by kiting this army, pushing it back every single time, threatening with the lasers from these Colossi. Now he's grouping back up on his side of the map, still warping in Zealots on the other side and trying to do some more damage. This is finally going to get shut down. I think the War Prism might have died. I don't see it around anymore.
You know, honestly, I think that ShoWTimE might have already done the damage. All ShoWTimE needs to do is buy time. He's massing up more units. I think Clem wisely is going to back up now since he knows that ShoWTimE, no matter what, at this point in time in the game, after losing those SCVs, ShoWTimE's just going to have more. Now, I think the game from here for ShoWTimE should be an easy one to navigate, right? He actually needed a moment where he'd come in there and hurt those SCVs. Before that, it didn't seem like anybody was clearly at the advantage. They were both playing quite well. But losing those workers, ShoWTimE takes a fourth base with ease. I don't believe that Clem can contest this. And this is going to be ShoWTimE's map for the time being. So Clem's response is to do a massive drop and hope to outposition ShoWTimE. Let's see how many spotters are out here. Yeah, if we can zoom out.
This could be so bad.
Oh, man. And this is the whole thing about ShoWTimE, right? He crosses his T's and dots his I's. Hold on a second. This is Mission Impossible music is playing right now. Oh! Okay, he sees it. And this is more than enough time here for ShoWTimE to respond.
Yeah. He's not even... Yeah, okay. No.
Oh, boy.
Terrans, nowadays, Terrans are too good to just kind of ignite after burners and just go in there. They will always scan. They'll always check their medivacs when they're at the edge of wherever it is that they want to drop. So Clem just kind of ejects. He drops around that base. You're hoping there's not going to be enough units. Actually, there isn't yet, but the army of ShoWTimE is not too far behind.
Maybe Clem can get a snipe here. Actually, doesn't look like it would be a wise decision. He's going to burrow those mines. The Disruptor comes forward, eliminating 2 of the 3 mines. And from here, he's going to have to back up. In fact, I think ShoWTimE can actually box this in.
He still has units in his main base.
Yeah.
Enough.
Okay, you can even see ShoWTimE was trying to back away to fish in the medivacs. Oh, here we go! Oh, man. Beautifully done here by ShoWTimE. And that will be it. GG. Great showing there, and you can see Clem shaking his head.
Yeah.
I thought Clem was actually doing a great job. But once that Zealot attack came in there, I mean, when you have it Terran versus Protoss, because neither race is required to be the defender, you have a lot of moments where you're on even bases and you're both kind of crashing into each other. If you look at the mini-map, a lot of times, expansion-wise, it looks like it could be a mirror matchup, which is what's funny about it. So Clem decided to push. ShoWTimE flies in there, drops Zealot, starts killing SCVs, and from there, ShoWTimE just knows it's an easy step-by-step process to win the game. Clem has to take a risk or turtle for an incredibly long amount of time. Clem takes the risk. He goes for the drop, and then that's when the trap activates. ShoWTimE comes in, destroys all the medevacs, and Clem identifies, okay, it's time to go to game 2.
Clem doesn't seem very confident against Protoss. You know, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, I saw him kind of struggle against DNS in practice, and now it's kind of showing against ShoWTimE. A little bit of frustration here after the game, which just didn't go his way. He was still making the most out of those opportunities as well, really trying to drop, but it's just ShoWTimE is so solid in this kind of game. Like we mentioned it, everything is so clean. He gets the upgrades going, gets the transitions right, and he had 2 observers perfectly placed here. So you see anything coming on the left-hand side, really kind of the weak point of where you would get dropped. Usually you'd have to recall, and then if Terran can start creating some chaos and you don't have to recall the next time, then you can start losing a lot of important structures. Didn't let that happen at all. ShoWTimE with the easy shutdown here in game number 1.
We're going to be going into game number 2 in a moment here. I do want to chalk some of this performance up here from Clem just to being on the stage. It is a completely different beast to take on when you're up there. All these lights are on you.
Yeah.
We have a lot of players that they do age like wine. More time they're on, the better they become. And, ShoWTimE is such a veteran. He's so experienced with this.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any nervousness issues.
That song's playing, Todd. Dun, 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 dun. That can only mean one thing.
The game is
Time for
starting.
game 2. Let's go. In the bottom right, in the blue, make some noise for Clem. And his opponent in the red, winning game number 1. Give it up for ShoWTimE.
Clem has been around for quite some time, actually. He's played StarCraft for many years. I believe he was in Masters at 11 years old. And he played Zerg.
That's so sick, man. That's so
Zerg.
crazy.
He played Zerg initially and later switched to Terran. But he's actually got a very good random. He can play almost any race very well. So, a very impressive young player. Who now, I think he's wanted this for a long time to go and play in these big tournaments, but now he's definitely met his match at ShoWTimE.
Can we get a quick, I'm sorry to ask the observers, can we zoom in on that again? This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. That is not supposed to be happening. One of the SCVs is not mining. Now, we've talked about experience being key.
Taking a little nap over there.
Yeah, he's having a little siesta, if you will. Now, I want to see when Clem identifies that, because especially with the gas, this is a much bigger deal even than if you had one SCV not on the minerals. And this is going to be pretty demoralizing because he's eventually going to catch this, and there's going to be that heart palpitation of, oh my God, I'm already off to a rough start here in game 2.
Yeah.
Because, and this isn't really talked about enough, but when you're playing StarCraft, you're almost in a race against your opponent. A lot of times we think about the strategies and how they're interacting with each other, but anybody who's played against a player who's so good that if you're not getting every pylon down or depot down, if you're not making sure that you have an SCV making it or a probe making it every second, you're losing in a way that has nothing to do with the opposing player. And we know Clem's not going to miss a beat. Or, I'm sorry, ShoWTimE's not going to miss a beat.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if that gets fixed. Definitely not going to be too happy if he sees that. Yeah, 3 out of 3 now. So it was fixed there eventually. As Clem takes the second gas here in his main base, ShoWTimE on the other side going for the Stargates. Should be an easy scout from Clem, who hit his SCV earlier. And yeah, he already saw it. So even though like that gateway and cybercore and pylon are kind of designed to zone that out, hiding the SCV I think was really nice. And Widowmine now is in production from Clem. Gonna try his luck maybe against the potential Oracle that is going to be coming no matter what there. I don't think the start was too bad last game. It's just like the War Prism came from the right angle, and a lot of things kind of went right for ShoWTimE. But the initial start, he did kill that first Stalker and then at the depth as well early on.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay, so the first Widowmine's going to come out. Now, we've seen this especially it goes in and out of StarCraft, but this used to be very trendy to try to put the Widowmine in a random location out on the map, because generally the player's screen for Protoss is not over the Oracle when they're doing this. It looks like ShoWTimE's being very cautious here when he does this. In fact, yeah, you can see him. Excuse me. He is. He did not right-click this across the map, so I'll correct myself right there. But we've seen a lot of other players right-click all the way across the map, and they'll fly into a Widowmine.
Yeah.
Oh, my God!
Like this.
Now, what's crazy about that is that he actually was watching that and then did lose it. So, you know what? Even with that SCV hiccup, Clem is doing pretty well in early game, Todd.
Yeah. Clem, what a story it would be if he was to make the global finals, by the way. Like, he's going into these tournaments. He wasn't that high ranked. Currently, he's 30 with making that round of 16. If he was to win there, I think he gets as high as rank 18. Suddenly, it's a whole lot closer to that top 8, and he still has a chance to advance further by facing Neeb in the next round. I mean, if you can be ShoWTimE, maybe you can do well against Neeb as well, so...
Okay, here we go. Widowmine's dropping. Probes are being evacuated, and it looks like this is not going to do anything. Good pickup here by Clem. Clem's trying to basically abused the fact that Protoss can't mine from here.
And then he's going to get out?
Yeah, this is very gracefully done by Clem. In fact, I don't believe that Medevac ever took damage during that.
Veniva di Vici. I came, I saw, and I conquered.
This was a game where, I got to say, like, that little engage, very nicely done by Clem. Maybe he is really going to seize the moment here and try to do a little bit more damage. Now, if we can get a shot up here at the top, yeah, I think there's a Liberator coming up over here. Now, the Widow Mines are going to try to come in again. ShoWTimE does have a Phoenix that's patrolling for when the Medevac comes in, and that Medevac is coming in.
Ooh, he whopped in a sentry. I think ShoWTimE didn't see that, even though he had a pylon going up there. Maybe the vision was reduced. Clem being the aggressor here, forcing some mining time away from those minerals, taking the opportunity now.
This is huge. It looks like it's going to be about 4 kills. Now, you can add that into the 2 that were killed earlier on.
And he still gets out again with this. And now knowing that there is a Phoenix, he can also just kind of go home, make sure he keeps that alive for the fight later on. Those Widow Mines have done their job. And can we see units lost? Yeah, that's not bad at all. 5 probes, 2 stalkers, and Oracle in particular. The Oracle, that one is priceless because now there's not going to be any revelation onto his army unless, like ShoWTimE, he has to remake that. It's very annoying for him. I guess he already has 2 more, but an Oracle at this stage in the game is quite priceless. It's very important to kill those.
Oh my God. That is just out of range. Okay, here we go again. Is ShoWTimE watching? And this is pretty nicely done. Snaps that attack off right away. I wonder if Clem was maybe being a little bit too ambitious flying at that time.
I like that he tried it. Like in the case where ShoWTimE wouldn't have been looking, he would have lost a lot here once again, and that would have been really bad. But now a lot of gateways are being dropped down. ShoWTimE knows that Clem knows that this 3rd base is up, so now he can expect some sort of attack here there eventually.
So Clem is going to try to push out now and take the 3rd. Now, you do have to note there's a lot of different ways on this map, Dreamcatcher, for an army of either race in this matchup to push out. And so in this case, Clem is going to take that 3rd. He may be expanding momentarily here. ShoWTimE's trying to litter the map with enough traps that he can really curb that. One of the easiest ways to beat a Terran, especially if you have Widow Mines and siege tanks, is force them to set up in a position that's not close to your base and then run away. And then when they unsiege and unburrow the mines, you fake and engage, you come in and poke them, and then you run back out again. Now here comes ShoWTimE, taking out a few SCVs, some minimal damage, but not bad.
Oh, you don't want to kill that Clem. Don't kill your own eBay just yet. Templar Archives now being dropped down, more Stalkers being added on as well as the second Forge. Very important, those double upgrades. You don't want to fall too far behind. Yes, Blink, yeah, that's going to be an easy shot down there. Not even triggering the stasis ward.
Let's see if the push comes right when Stim finishes, because that's not an uncommon timing. You really don't want to use your infantry until Stim's done. So that's going to happen. Now, are we going to have the same game that we had before? Because
Clem has more this time. Like, look at the army supply.
That's correct.
53.
But what I mean was that there's a War Prism at the very bottom of the map that could be used for a counterattack.
I think ShoWTimE's always looking for that to try and do some damage. Clem needs to defend better this time. Remember last time he lost like 25 SCVs. He can't let that happen again. He needs to defend with a lot of units here quickly. He's actually walking on home with his army.
Oh no, it's actually working. Clem is turning around, but there is a drop over here in the main, and I don't know if these 2 Oracles would ever be enough to take on that many Marines.
Oh, the eBay with the +2 attack, he's gonna get sniped.
Oh, this is really bad. He does deny that. Weapons level 2 is gonna be punted back to a latter part of this game.
A +2 attack for a +2 attack, Tasteless.
And unfortunately, that was one of those Tosis pylons there. ShoWTimE no longer powering all those gateways and other key units, but I gotta say, Clem right now is actually doing fine. He did lose some SCVs. He did lose that upgrade, which actually might be the biggest factor later on. But look, he slowed the ShoWTimE down as well.
Yeah, these upgrades still not going there. ShoWTimE's gonna have to repower that, and Clem taking a hefty lead here. Supply-wise, Storm only now starting. So Clem's gonna move across the map, and I think he's got a good chance to do very well here with this massive army of his, lots of Widow Mines. He's gonna, I guess, just be careful not to have too much friendly fire, but ShoWTimE being across the map.
Okay, here we go.
They just ignite some sort of base trade there.
Yeah, big counterattack here. And we got to see if Clem is actually going to turn around. The CC's been lifted. A lot of SCVs are going to be going down as well.
No, this time.
Clem is stimming. He's coming up. There's a lot of Templars over here, though.
They don't have Storm yet.
Oh, my God, you're right. Because he delayed that from earlier.
Yeah, so he's going to recall. He's bluffing right now. He's bringing the High Templars forward, but he does not have Storm yet. He wanted the Terran army to just kind of move back. trying to buy some time for Storm to finish, in which case he might be able to storm this entire army. Those High Templars already have a lot of energy.
Side
And he's going to finish.
Yep, 10 seconds away. You can see that ShoWTimE's beginning to press back a little bit further. Clem has reclaimed that third base and now has a fourth on the way. Fairly even. Worker count overall, it is ShoWTimE with a little bit more, but Clem's certainly still holding his own here. And it looks like Clem wants to commit. Now, my math may be wrong, but I don't know if Clem can hold this position for much longer with the next few warping rounds, especially with Side Storm like this.
Yeah, Widow Mites are supposed to be scary, but nicely done. Hallucinated Phoenix here, triggering one of them, storming the rest. ShoWTimE with a defense that is known for every single time here under pressure. Being pretty clean with this. Counter-attacking with exactly enough Zealots.
Yeah, this is the perfect amount because ShoWTimE could have warped in plenty more, but he says, okay, 4 is enough that it's really a headache. And from here, the rest of this attack is going to be cleaned up. Looks like a few Widow Mines are going to be set off, but overall, ShoWTimE exhibiting exactly what we were talking about, Todd, that he's just a very stable, clean player.
Did Clem restart his +2 attack? Okay, he did, but yeah, that was...
actually, we see weapons level 2 is about to finish it.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good by him, actually, to have done that. Like, very important not to fall behind. Like I said, on the upgrades on both sides, and we did have ShoWTimE restarted to 2. He remade the Forge in the same location. Thunder never strikes twice in the same place. Actually, in StarCraft 2, that's completely wrong. Usually, if you remake the building in the same place, it dies again.
Yeah. So, we have Clem coming out now. And it looks like he wants to go for a big drop here. And this seems to be something Clem does, perhaps impulsively, I'm not sure. But this is going to glide right by ShoWTimE's army. And in fact, he could end up just dropping over here on the 4th and then picking up and even dropping in the main if he wanted to.
And there's no recall this time because ShoWTimE used it to defend previously. So he's going to have to wait for quite some time. I think this is just a full-on base trade from there.
Yep.
Does ShoWTimE run back or does he go for the counter-attack? I think he just goes for the counter there.
Okay, ShoWTimE's going to push forward. But keep in mind, ShoWTimE's army is a lot slower than what Clem has. Beautifully done. Unpowers that now, going for the Nexus. I think Clem has to keep going.
The High Templars here really are the X factor. He needs to land some huge storms on top of this army. The +3 attack again.
Beautifully done.
I told you Thunder hits twice.
But look at this. A lot of Clem's army is actually running northbound. We'll get a shot of that in a little bit. Let's see if these storms connect.
Yeah, they do, but there's Medivacs here to try and heal all of this. Standing up on the high ground, SCVs looking to try and go for a counterattack themselves. They are being evacuated. On his side of the map, Clem, does he have anything to try and hold on? Liberators on the high ground, that's great.
He could actually hold this. I think we need to see a few more good size storms, but I don't think that there's any way for ShoWTimE to actually run up there. He's taken out the Nexus. There's a few Stalkers down here. I don't believe any of the gateways are really powered.
ShoWTimE is not reacting. Those Stalkers are so important. He needs to save them.
Oh, this is so sick. I think actually ShoWTimE might be able to come up here.
Okay, let's recall. I was going to say the
he recalls. One player has... Well, they're both basically in shambles. It's ShoWTimE who's still mining but has no infrastructure operating right now. And it's Clem that has all of his infrastructure but no mining bases.
Yeah, ShoWTimE is trying to recover very well, though he remade the Templar Archives. He's remaking another Nexus on the right side, trying to expand. Clem losing a lot of forces across the map. He's trying to kite his way out of this. It's not like he can pick up and leave because the Stalkers will snipe those Medivacs. So he's trying to trade, regrouping with the rest of his army, and he's got a pretty big army, 76 against 68 now.
Okay, we're getting to a really complex PVT at this point in time. Can we get a shot of ShoWTimE's main and where the rest of his infrastructure is? So he's repowered everything for the most part. He's getting a War Prism. Now Clem is pushing out, and there is this base over in the gold location.
How many High Templars do we have? I don't think we have that many. 5?
I don't see any with this army, actually.
Yeah, this is bad. He needs Storm against this. There's too much Terran. Liberator is going to siege this base. That was the most important base that ShoWTimE just took.
Yeah, and ShoWTimE's going to lose his Nexus, never really getting any of the benefits from it. Storms are coming down. Clem's doing a pretty damn good job of controlling this. But is there too much? It seems like the last of the Liberators should be gone. Feedback's coming down on these Medivacs, and this is really all that Clem had.
Yeah, those Storms are hurting big time there. How many command centers does Clem have? He still has the one in the main, right?
Yeah, he can always lift that one up when he... Okay, here he goes. He's going to do that now. And then he's going to land that over at that third base. Problem is, you know, if ShoWTimE commits too hard and makes a mistake, it's going to be hard to get the diverse unit composition that he has right now.
Income-wise, Clem's going to be in a good spot. The problem is that he's fighting High Templars without Ghost.
Right.
So his army, like, it's very hard for him to do well all the time. If he does get rid eventually of those High Templars or ShoWTimE runs out of Storm, he's going to get wrecked. But right now, that's just not happening. And having a Prism is huge there. They have so much mobility with the Prism. And I think that's what ShoWTimE is going to want to look at. Basically, have the High Templars do all of the damage, retake that gold base, and just do fine. Clem just scanned on the left side, thinking that ShoWTimE might have expanded there, but nope. It's again on that gold base, and I think just from that scan, he might be able to tell and try pressuring here really soon.
Yeah, that's right. I like what you're saying earlier, Todd, about the Warp Prism. Yeah, if you have a Warp Prism, there's really not anything directly that Terran can do because you can always guard your other units and have them get easy escapes.
I would like, I think, Clem to go maybe all the way around the map and try and attack that 12 o'clock base.
Oh, you think he should try to maybe like go up
with
there?
one single medivac and some Marines, because then it will bring a lot of army back out of position, and then you can try and hit that gold base at the same time. Because if you send everything to the gold base, now obviously the entire army of ShoWTimE is there, right? All he has to do is gonna micro-storm your army, and he's gonna do fine.
We don't have any ghost tech at all, correct?
No,
okay.
We just don't have the economy. It's like really expensive. So
I guess it's hard to tech up from here. You're you're in arrested development with.
But I think with some good kiting and splits, he might be able to do well, Clem. But the more he sits back, the more
this is so
something amassed.
Beautifully done here. Some nice storm drops. Doesn't actually kill that many SCVs. Maybe I should have let that finish before I said that. Okay, so 8 SCVs go down before. It was just 4.
That's going to trigger an attack.
That was some storms that he doesn't, ShoWTimE doesn't have now. So I think Clem's going to see if he can't poke out and try to do some damage of his own.
He's going to need some incredible kiting and splits against these High Templars, though, because there is still some defensively here ready for ShoWTimE. Bringing back that Warp Prism now. There is Immortals as well. There is that one sentry with Guardian Shield, which is also important here in this situation. Ooh, he's teamed everything here.
Okay, he's trying to come forward. Good dodge there on the storms. Clem is doing whatever he can to try to come in and break this gold base or possibly break the mineral base, maybe even go to the main. ShoWTimE, though. Okay, great position here with the Liberators. He has it set up in such a way it's not desirable for ShoWTimE to come in.
Clem right now, he must be thinking about maybe hitting the other base. Yeah, I think he's going to go for that.
Yeah.
Because if he can set up the Liberators in advance, that's just so great for him.
Todd, I think we have another base trade going on over here. These Marines are going to try to get... I know, it's so crazy.
But ShoWTimE can still recall, by the way, if he wants to eventually. So maybe onto his gold base. Maybe he does the damage there and then recalls to his gold base.
So he's actually doing so much over here. I don't know that there's that much inside of Clem's main, though. Last time Clem didn't die before because he managed to stop
that's too late to recall
going up the ramp. Yeah,
that's too late to recall. That Nexus is gonna die. It's a full-on base trade with flying buildings. Oh my God! And ShoWTimE, he has enough minerals to start a Nexus.
He does. I don't know where he's going to put it. He's bringing... Okay, so they're going to swap positions now.
Musical command centers.
That's right. He's going to lift off these barracks and try to move them back. ShoWTimE now with no Nexus at all. And, you know, like you were saying, Todd, he only has ported minerals. He can't hide a pylon or anything else on the map. So I think... Well, let's see what Clem does here. I was going to say maybe Clem goes up there and tries to destroy everything else. Instead, it looks like Clem wants to cover his buildings.
Oh, catching some important stalkers there.
Oh, man.
Here's the problem. We got 3 high Templars.
Oh, you know what?
Now.
He can lock this in with the Liberators.
Oh, that's the fight. That's it. ShoWTime's going to try to fight this here. Storms land on top of this army.
And you can see that with the stim coming down here, it might not be enough, but 3 Immortals is still a lot with an Archon. Right now, Clem needs to back up and heal up. He's going to try to wall this up, and that's going to buy him just a little bit of time. The probes are coming in, a lot of them being mowed down.
Yeah, against upgraded bio here, they can't do too much. ShoWTimE, he made a Nexus on the bottom left-hand side. Clem can see that. He's going to go for the cancel, and there's not going to be enough minerals for ShoWTimE to start another one.
So economically, ShoWTime's out of this game.
That's a draw, at least, for Clem now.
That's right.
He's got at least a draw in the bag. If he hides his buildings, he flies them off the map.
Keep in mind, guys, you can always land mules here with your command centers. But one other command center under attack. It seems like ShoWTimE is going to have to go home and try to defend the buildings that he has remaining. Oh, this is so crazy. Okay, so he's now coming in here and trying to wipe out the rest of these buildings. Now, a lot of these medevacs are very low, but a decent amount of them have some good energy.
Yeah, Clem's playing for the win, obviously. Like, he wants to try and get rid of this army eventually. So he's going to try to force a bad fight out of ShoWTimE, ideally up the ramp.
Right.
Kite is way out of it, split. There is only 1 High Templars now. 1 single High Templar, the Immortals, they will block each other in the ramp as well if you were to come up. Does ShoWTimE go for it? Or does he wait for Clem to maybe make a mistake, overextend himself?
You know, each unit for Protoss is so important. Hold up. Some feedbacks there on the medevac.
There's no storm now.
Yeah, I actually think a storm would have been a wiser decision. The problem is with the number of Immortals compared to the number of Marauders.
They're blocking each other. 2 of these Immortals are not shooting. No, one of them dies. The second one!
He backs up. He's going to get the Stalker now. A good pickup over there.
That shield battery, that late game shield battery is somehow finding some use.
Meanwhile, the probes are going to be used over here to try to take out these structures. I almost feel like it might have been better to have the probes in the attack. Just something else to try to eat up some damage.
Yeah, actually, because if you kill this army, then it's a draw. There wouldn't have been anything from Clem to kill the Protoss buildings.
Clem's got to be careful. Every Marauder is so important. There's still, what is it, 1 or 2? No, it's just 1 Immortal that's out right now. ShoWTimE spends the last 300 minerals on 3 Zealots.
If ShoWTimE can kill this army...
Oh, he needs to get that Archon. Oh! Good shot there. ShoWTimE leaps forward, sniping down the 1 medevac that had some units in it. So it's 4 Marauders, and I think this is a draw.
Yeah. I mean, it's always hard to tell exactly where it's going to go. Like, one of them might just leave as well, like out of confusion. But provided Clem does not make a miracle happen with those 4 Marauders, or ShoWTimE doesn't go too crazy with his Stalkers, oh my god, you can't lose any unit here.
Okay, another pickup there. He's microing. He does get that last Immortal.
What?
Okay, hold on.
The High Templar, there's 1 Stalker with not many hit points and just the shields here. If Clem keeps running away, keeps on healing, and then kills those units... Oh! That's 50% of his army, that 1 Marauder.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're not wrong, Todd. Okay, he needs to drop and heal up. Now, the Stalker can get shots off, but the Stalker doesn't fire that fast. We're actually having the rest of those minerals, by the way, guys, being used.
Clem can mine, right? I think he has an orbital somewhere, no? Or did he lose that? Oh, no, he lost it.
No, that was in the middle of the map, I think. Can we just check the buildings, please, over here for Clem?
He lost all of them.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. So,
if he had that would have been so good.
Now he's lost another big chunk of his army. Every Marine counts.
Save Private Ryan. Pick up.
Go back. Okay, he's going to try to snipe the Stalker. Oh, the blinks are real. This is so crazy.
He really needs to run.
This is crazy.
Pick up and go heal.
Oh, he's going to run the wall. It's so crazy. He gets the Stalker.
And now that Archon is so easy to kite, Charles will go forward and they will get hit every time. But if they fall, that's it. The Archon on itself will not be able to do anything. Clem can just fight, kill 1 unit, and then, I mean, ShoWTimE's going to run out of units. Clem just has to kite non-stop.
But if Clem makes 1 mistake, if he missed micros once, he will lose his army. There's still
this is one of the best base trades I've ever watched.
This is so crazy. Okay. Good control. Marine in the orange. Archon coming forward.
Whew. My heart.
I'm sweating. Now, note there is an observer following the medevacs. So it's
trying to keep up.
Right, trying to keep up. So he's able to monitor this. You almost have to wonder if Clem should even use these SCVs with the rest of the army. I mean, anything that can eat up extra damage.
Here's the thing. He has 4 attacking units that he needs to deal with. 3 Zealots, 1 Archon. If he takes out 1, pulls back, heals up, back to full. Takes out 1, pulls back, heals up, back to full. That's it. These are the last units of ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE is smiling. I think he knows it must be starting to
ShoWTimE realizes this should be checkmate. Clem furiously microing right now. Okay, ShoWTimE's going to go for it. He's microing. Up. Orange, yellow Marine.
The Zealots dies. It's 2 Zealots and 1 Archon. The Marine.
Oh my God! Don't scare me like that. I'm almost flying into the medevac, or the Archon there with the medevac. Okay, so he heals up, and you can see ShoWTimE. He knows that in a perfect game he should lose.
Yeah,
Clem a super young player.
He's trying to use the shield battery, but Clem will not fall for this.
Every hit he gets on those medevacs, by the way, is permanent.
ShoWTimE's doing a good job of pulling back the 1 unit that's being attacked every time, but he does feel like eventually he's going to run out of units.
Okay, Clem microing here.
How many kills do these guys have? They've just been there the whole time, killing stuff.
8, 9 kills, 11 kills. Now, good boost away. Good boost away. It's just these probes.
The chosen 3.
Oh, he's going for it. Okay. Oh my God, it's so low. Good pickup. He's backing up. He's targeting those Marines. He tries to run away. Can the Archon shot hit that medevac? It does not.
No, it's just not fast enough. Clem will never give the opportunity to ShoWTimE. And the Archon is low on shields now.
Yeah,
Clem is ready to go for it.
He's going to go back to that battery on the other side of the map.
Back to the spa.
That's right. Okay, he's healing up. Again,
ShoWTimE's drinking water. He knows
ShoWTimE can't believe this. Now he knows if one player, in this case Clem, just makes that mistake, he overextends, the splash connects on either the medevacs or the Marine Marauder, maybe he can win the fight.
ShoWTimE's just hoping that Clem makes a huge mistake there for a second.
Look at Clem's patience here.
He's so focused. Like,
he's not stimming. He's not going to stim for no reason. He's going to save that medevac energy. Okay, so look at this. Can we get a zoom out here? He's going to try to go around. This is the play here from ShoWTimE.
If he kills the medevacs, actually, these hands, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. And there's another shot on the medevac.
Ooh.
It's getting so low.
Just 3 more.
It's time to bring the SCVs.
You want to play with your walkers? I'm going to do it too.
I'll show you how to play with my workers. Okay. Oh, I don't know what ShoWTimE split up his army. Okay, he's trying to get a setup where he can flank him. Oh my God. Oh, big win here. Big win. Getting those SCVs.
Here comes the kiting. Oh,
the medevac!
Oh my God! He gets one of them. The other one is far away enough, but the Archon's trying to squeeze through.
It's so low. He needs to get them out. He loses another Marauder. Clem, the exhaustion, the fatigue, it may have kicked in. He picks up. And now I actually think ShoWTimE really does have a much more realistic chance here. It's just probes.
Yeah.
So it's 10 probes in an Archon. Now, again, you can stim with a Marine and a Marauder, either of them, and you outrange an Archon, and you can stutter step micro away. Okay, now he's going to try to get them to pick up.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. He goes back. He unloads here. Again, with the observer over here, you can keep spotting. Clem knows the math all too well.
He's like, follow me to the cannon.
Yeah. This is insane. ShoWTimE, he's thinking, he's taking his time. He's saying, is there any other way? Because he's running out of assets. Oh my God. So close to that cannon.
Can you imagine somebody tunes into StarCraft
Look
for the first time and they look at his game?
ShoWTimE's laughing. He says, okay, this is my life right now.
He knows because there's nothing he can do other than stay on his side of the map and hope for Clem to attack and hopefully make a mistake, which he's been making as of late. That one Marauder, 20 kills, tasteless. And the one Marine, 3 kills. You're the Marauder and Artosis is the Marine.
I can't believe this game. And there's the medevac is so low. How about we draw Clem not reacting? He wants blood. He's coming out. Now where's that Archon?
He's like, come at me, bro, shooting his base.
He's gonna go for it. If that Archon can hit that medevac.
That's what Clem has to prevent, but it's so hard because the medevac's trying to heal those units. It's so hard to catch that Archon.
It seems like ShoWTimE wants to abuse the fact that the medevac is going to be out of boost and maybe he can catch it a little bit later on. Did he just get it? Yeah. Oh my God! GG! Draw.
Ooh, I thought he was going to leave.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so I think it's physically impossible for the game to go on from here.
Wow.
Draw.
28 minutes into a draw, tasteless.
Wow, that was the coolest thing I've casted in a long time. I can't even believe that ShoWTimE did it. And Clem, in theory, in a perfect game, could have won that. But this is why ShoWTimE is such a veteran. He kept his cool.
Yeah.
And
stayed on that one shield battery that he needed to stay at. And the move with the probes from behind was super cute, by the way. I feel like a lot of Protosses, they still would have lost from there, but he still got creative with what he had, which was really not much.
Yeah. Let's keep in mind those SCVs were isolated for a while. I think that would have been handy in that fight back there. Now, draw is certainly not the end of the world, right? I mean, I think Clem really showed, okay, I can go head-to-head with ShoWTimE, and games like that, you never have the same game like that ever again.
I think if you're a pro gamer, you see it more as I had this game and I let it slip. That worries me.
That's a good point.
Look at ShoWTimE.
There is the glass is half empty approach.
I've never seen anybody discontent with a draw as he is now, because he knows that he very well could have lost this game if it had gone slightly differently, and he got out-kited.
So if you guys are just now joining us, we've had a draw here in Game 2. Right now, ShoWTimE still in the lead with a 1-0 victory. ShoWTimE looking dominant in Game 1. Clem looking shaky at points, but able to pull it back together. Ultimately, we were in a base trade situation. Economies completely frozen. And it was Clem who could have actually closed that out, but with the good juking and jiving, and if you watch really subtly what ShoWTimE was doing, was he was waiting for that medevac boost to end.
Oh, yeah.
So there's the stimming, running back and forth, and then he has it timed out where as the Terran's running away, the Archon shot can just barely catch the medevac.
Even how he was pulling back his Zealots every time they were being attacked, when he had 2 Zealots and 1 Archon and all the probes, I feel like so many processes, they would have been like, all right, this is it, YOLO. Just follow him the whole time and lose the Zealots, don't pull them back, and then that's it, you've lost. But no, not ShoWTimE. He was like, I still got a way I can win this. I'll pull back my units, let them regenerate their shields, keep on fighting, and then eventually he's going to run out of medivacs and steam, and I'll beat him. Well, I'll beat him. I'll get a draw.
Okay. We're going to be going into game 3 here. I'm actually not.
You mean game 2?
Yeah, game 2. So how does this work? Actually, we don't almost ever have draws in StarCraft. What are the rules here for this tournament? Do you know? With like, do we?
Yeah, we just replay the map.
We replay the map.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if we actually go to map 3 and then have some kind of weird.
Oh, it's going to be the same map. Yeah.
Map selection for like a possible 6th game that we have. But okay, now. Will they do anything different? I don't know. We're definitely never going to have a game like that again, but we could have a game just as cool, just as hype. And we're in. Introducing our player here in the upper left, in the blue. Make some noise for Clem! And his opponent able to pull off that draw in game number 2. Give it up for ShoWTimE!
How rare are draws in those games? Like, really rare. I feel like we don't get one every tournament.
Oh, yeah.
There's like every few tournaments we get one in there, and it's like really crazy. But that was one of the more entertaining ones. Sometimes they're like very slow and like nothing's happening. One guy's trying to mine, the other guy's preventing it, and like really nothing is happening. But no, that was so intense. The chasing and all that, and they really made the most of it, especially ShoWTimE, I feel like. And even though, you know, it wasn't a map win or anything, it was a draw, I still feel like he's got the momentum right now, ShoWTimE does.
I think so. I think it's got to be scary if you're a player like Clem and you have this insane series, but you know, you wanted that win. You needed that win, especially against a player like ShoWTimE. Everybody on this side of the bracket is pretty terrified of ShoWTimE. He is one of the cleanest, most solid Protosses in the entire world. Clem, he's our young buck. Okay, yeah. He's the new face of StarCraft 2, the new generation, and he's here to try to get his own dominant streak. But you got to overcome a player like ShoWTimE, and I think in game number 2, what we really saw exhibited there was a player with so much experience and nerves that are always cool, able to eventually engineer an advantageous position for himself.
Yeah, I really think that ShoWTimE's crisis management was great. The recalls were on point both times. The second time in particular, because he must have kept a good eye on the cooldown of that one recall. Remember, he had used it before, and then he came back just on time. So we're going to have a Stargate opener there, whereas for Clem, it's again factory into a second gas. Most likely going to be seeing a stop off as well. Whoa. He's one below choice.
I got to say, ShoWTimE right off the bat here, just already almost taking out that SCV. ShoWTimE gets a scout off and spots that the reactor. It's a great start here.
The Stargate was spotted, though. That's really good for Clem, because
that's
he can
right.
start and get ready. Like we've seen him get Widow Mines early on and make sure he doesn't take any damage. That's one ambitious adept here. Going to be able to get an SCV. Very nicely done. Actually, delays, that's before the command finishes.
Look, he even cancels that shade. This is the scary stuff about ShoWTimE. He's so experienced. Every situation, he kind of sort of knows exactly what to do.
This is going to die. Wow, really well done. Actually, not going for a Widow Mine right away. He's chasing that now. Even that second adept is going to take a lot of damage. And he's going 2 Cyclones behind this. That means that this will add up. 1 Reaper, 2 Hellions, 2 Cyclones. He can attack with his ShoWTimE. Immediately going to start a wall off on his side of the map. He's in panic mode. He's going to have to keep his Oracle right there as well for the defense.
Okay, the Reaper might try to come in here and peek. But when these 2 Cyclones get here, it's going to be a real problem. Oh no, this one adept. Is he going to get it?
Whoa!
Okay, but he also ends up losing that Hellion. The Hellion instead runs into the main. And I think the opportune setup that Clem had is not really there anymore. Instead, these Cyclones are going to be used in a defensive fashion, at least for now.
And
But
it's
of
really
course-
hard, by the way, for ShoWTimE to read what's coming behind this because he has no vision on the other side of the map, right? So in his mind, there is maybe a starport, additional barracks going down, but no. Turrets defensively by Clem. This reminds me of ShoWTimE style that we saw so many times in the past with Cyclones in the offense and turrets in the defense against the Stargate play.
Well
So
said.
it's going to be multiple Cyclones. So it's very scary when you have Stargate units because these guys do a lot of damage against the Stargate units, especially if you can surprise the opponent and catch him out of position.
Okay, the Adept's coming forward.
Yeah, that one Adept is trying to spoil the plans here by
That's
spotting
right.
everything.
Oh, okay, he does spot that one Adept on the map. And he's going to try to pass through the bushes here, so the Cyclones will lose vision temporarily. This is a really good game of cat and mouse. Look at that. He cancels the shade at the last second. Nice escape there by ShoWTimE. Now, ShoWTimE has 3 Oracles. They're headed northbound. And what he wants to do is try to get as many workers as possible. And with this many Oracles, you can easily one-shot SCVs, which means it can snowball in the amount of damage that you're receiving.
That is a lot of Cyclones. Turret defensively here. Those SCVs building the new barracks are going to get sniped. ShoWTimE is going to start to fly back home. He can recall as well, but he's already using a lot of energy onto this. I mean, it's nice to
This isn't what I
snipe this add-on
expected.
because that delays Steam actually to snipe this.
Oh, good point.
Oh, and Clem is trying to catch this. Yeah, he's setting up just down below here with some more Cyclones.
Can he box him in? Looks like one goes down. I don't believe he's going to be able to catch any more from there. I think the Oracles, have enough speed and momentum that it would just be tough to actually catch. Behind all that, ShoWTimE's taking a third base.
Yeah, and I think there should be enough defensively for him to hold on to that third Nexus easily because, yeah, look, he's going to close. Oh my God. Woo! Get back. Don't want to get locked in there with those Protoss units as the rocks collapse here. Yeah, ShoWTimE, he's going to have enough for sure. He's got multiple gateways already being able to warp in, blink on the way, +1 attack. Now getting the robo. So much happening already.
Let's go back for a second. Let's talk about that tech lab that was taken out, because you made a really good point, Todd. If you took out the tech lab, then they didn't get stim, which we see he's just now starting. Basically, as far as infantry units go, you can't really be on the map. Since we're past the 5-minute mark, you can't be on the map with your army without stim.
And ShoWTimE already has the third base.
Yeah.
So it's just great for him.
ShoWTimE is really asserting himself in a correct strategic fashion as he's taking this third base of his own. And look, he's getting a ton of gateways. His economy is developing really nicely. And we're still a little bit out before Clem can try to come out on the map. It looks like Clem wants to try to take a third base of his own. But as this third base starts over here for Clem, ShoWTimE's already reaping all the benefits of his own third base.
And this is very worrying for Clem. Remember in the previous game, the one that ended up in a draw, Clem was doing such a good job of harassing those mineral lines. Widow mines were being dropped. He was using Liberators as well to do some economic damage. And he actually did a pretty good job of that. That's really what propelled him into the mid-game with a supply lead and in a good position. Now, I feel like the opposite is going to be true in a second when ShoWTimE's economy really starts on kicking in and he starts on producing a ton of units.
Oh my God. This could be a huge catch. Oh! So somehow these Oracles actually maneuver entirely through that, tag both groups of units, the Cyclones as well as the Medivacs, and I can't imagine that Clem can do that much damage with this if ShoWTimE handles it correctly.
Yeah, he has
In fact, I'm even surprised he's trying to drop in here.
This is weird.
Yeah, this is...
Already being tired. I think he's trying to force a bad split. Oh, the scan! That's so nice. He knew there was most likely going to be a stasis wall there. Gets rid of that.
Good game sense there. A blink forward, though, and we see that one of those Cyclones is sniped off immediately.
Disruptor production, by the way.
Yeah, very interesting. But so far, it doesn't seem like Clem can really catch a break. He's trying to find an opening. By the way, Stim just now finishing, which is where he can really actually try to pick fights.
Yeah.
Ground to ground, at least, instead of trying to harass and attack where the opposing player's not. Clem's gearing up for a push. Let's see how ShoWTimE handles it.
And remember how Clem played last game composition-wise. There were a few Liberators, but really not that many of them. Against a lot of Disruptors, you need to have many Liberators. Otherwise, it's very hard to actually siege and fight with just bio. So I think ShoWTimE's counting on that to really kind of try and surprise his opponent. But look at this Clem. Second starport, fusion core, already thinking about advanced ballistics. Here's the thing, though. He has to sit back and play slow if he wants to be able to reach that. Because if he fights now and loses everything, then the Liberators by themselves wouldn't be able to do too much. So he needs to at least trade. Don't get over aggressive. Dark Shrine now starting for ShoWTimE, as well as a War Prism. He wants to kind of start on getting aggressive himself in a minute.
ShoWTimE knows that this attack should be coming in here from 2 different directions. And this is a great catch. He takes out these Cyclones. Let's take a look at this attack that should come from the north. I don't believe there's ample army here for ShoWTimE. Oh, but with this one disruptor, he absolutely could do it. But there's a minefield just adjacent to this. Ooh. Look at that. This could not be handled better here.
And now Clem, knowing about these disruptors, he's going to focus, I think, on the Liberator production. We should be seeing advanced ballistics starting momentarily as well. And you kind of have to slow the game down a lot from there. Focus on getting a lot of Liberators. I would say upwards of 10. And then you can start on going across the map and sieging. But there's still always going to be the threat of that one Warp Prism flying into your base and warping in upgraded Zealots that will provoke a massacre.
Do you think there's a chance that ShoWTimE will try to slow push across the map with the disruptors and start popping off clumps of units, or do you think he just wants to keep staying back and growing?
I think, yeah, he's going to do that because he's getting 2 more Stargates and the Fleet Beacon. So he's already thinking about how to counter before the disruptors, before the disruptor production really is ramping up. He wants to get Tempest so he can shoot from afar. He's going to keep on tagging that army with the Oracles. So ShoWTimE is always ahead of, it feels, everything of what Clem's doing with the transitions and all that.
So we see a push coming over here. It's just outside the radius of the sensor tower, now stepping in. And he's going to try to come in here. Now, Liberators are scary, but he might be able to do something with this many disruptors.
Yeah. You can't engage head-on into this Protoss army and crush it. So ShoWTimE, knowing that there's Liberators being made, he's moving across the map and kind of hopeful that Clem will make a mistake so that he can just blow up some of these units. Worst comes to worst, he recalls out anyway. Blink DT being researched, by the way.
I know, this is really interesting. Keep in mind that Clem knows exactly where ShoWTimE is with these sensor towers out here. This is pretty ambitious here by ShoWTimE. Nice job knocking the rocks down, isolating that army. We did see the small poke, or we're seeing the tail end of it as those Zealots and DTs are trying to back out. Clem's defense is really good. We're at the point where both players are basically maxed out. But ShoWTimE, as you were saying, Todd, he does have a plan coming in here. He can actually siege up this position with the Tempest and the Disruptors. So Clem decides to clandestinely move across the map. Now we're seeing ShoWTimE try to move out, but there's this huge drop. If we could just get a shot of that right over there, what's actually back home defending at that base at the far right? Oh, actually a decent amount.
Clem's gonna have to react quickly, actually. Like, if those disruptors start landing big shots, he's gonna lose a lot of units very fast. Zealots and DTs are gonna fight this army there. Clem realizes there are Dark Templars attacking. He's gonna get the right scan. 3-3 on the way now.
Ooh.
They slowed on the wrong time.
But Clem also is moving to the south now.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to set up a position. And Clem's defense has been pretty stellar this game. But with this many disruptors, it's just hard to break these positions. Okay, he's coming forward now. Again, if any of those disruptor shots connect and take too much, it's going to be really difficult for Clem. The Tempest, that is another factor that just makes this difficult, because the Liberators can set up, but the Tempest can peg them down from afar.
Ooh, ShoWTimE might not be seeing this coming here. Maybe he hears it, but that could surprise big time. Does Clem want to commit, though? It's very hard, because like his army dies so fast against stuff like Disruptors.
So Clem trying to get a little bit of damage in here, slowly shaving off a bit of this army, but with this many disruptors, it's just so difficult.
Yeah.
Look, you have to, have to run.
Clem could go for a massive pickup and go through the bottom of the map and maybe drop in the main base, but there is recall. And there is a good amount of Stalkers that can blink and snipe Medivac, so it's very risky. He actually delays the 5th base quite nicely there, with his entire army at the bottom. And there is no planetary fortress on that base, so I like the counter-attack attempt here by ShoWTimE, even if in this case it might not do
ShoWTime's
that
coming
much.
out. He could actually flank this pretty well. Clem scans that, identifies, sees what's coming at him.
And Vikings now being made. That's very important for Clem to try and counter these Tempests properly as well.
Nice little attack up here at the top.
Getting +2 air upgrades too.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where all the upgrades are getting filled in. Wow, and you can really see how abusive those Tempests can be as they just turn around, they're one-shotting the Liberators out of the air.
Yeah, the synergy Tempest Disruptors here is very hard to deal with. So ShoWTimE, he's gonna do the dance really well here between those two, pushing forward, using his cooldown super well on the Disruptor. And still the threat of that Warp Prism on the north side. Storm now starting, that's so late, but I mean ShoWTimE, he has his AoE already in the Disruptor, oh my god. Some really good connections already.
I do like that Clem's taking that gold base in the upper right side of the map. We see that ShoWTimE seems to be more comfortable hugging the bottom of the map, expanding down there. Oh, whoa, this could be a big catch as well. taking out some of these Tempests.
Yeah, they do so much damage. Like, I mean,
Thing is, there's way more Tempests than there are Vikings. Even though Vikings is the right idea, it's the wrong number. Infantry level 3 is just now finishing up.
and these Tempests, they're so comfortable standing at the edge outside of the range of where the Protoss army can attack. And actually, that's a great catch here by ShoWTimE, making sure that gold base doesn't go up. He's going to chase this army, and I don't think Clem can fight here. He's been losing a lot of units. He's not maxed out. He has to run away from that location.
I'm starting to wonder if we're at the point of no return here. I think that ShoWTimE's army is so able to assert itself that there's not that much that Clem can do. That doesn't mean that ShoWTimE should be able to close in with a kill move here, but it seems like ShoWTimE is really the boss of this game.
Yeah. And he gets that command center here before he can upgrade into a planetary fortress. ShoWTimE taking the fight head on here, trying to trade against this Terran army. Clem gonna take the engagements. He's got so many Vikings dealing with his Tempest. ShoWTimE, he can't even recall because he would lose too much before that would actually happen. So Clem might get the cleanup and then go for the counterattack. ShoWTimE finally able to run away.
Okay, ShoWTimE backs up. Both these guys losing big chunks of their army. Again, in this phase of the game, it's actually easier for Terran to remake anything that's lost. Where Protoss, especially with the Robo and the Stargate units, it takes a long time to get them out. So we want to watch and see if there's a lot of Tempests and or Disruptors destroyed here.
Did he pick up units in those Medivacs? I think so.
Don't see it right now.
Because he doesn't have much on the ground. Oh my god, these Templars.
Okay, so he's going to try to wedge himself in between the 3rd base and the 5th base.
His army on the ground is so small. I mean, sure, he's got Vikings and Liberators, but then he has almost nothing on the ground. So I'm surprised that Clem's moving forward.
Okay,
but he lands the Vikings.
That was pretty sick. He wanted just enough beef on the ground there that he could actually absorb some of that damage and take out most of those Stalkers. And I got to say, it looks like Clem's starting to do it.
Yeah, great scan here. He's going to recall on that Nexus at the bottom here. ShoWTimE trying to catch Clem by surprise. And he's going to chase him away from that location here. It's so funny. There's so many Vikings. They already cleaned up the air, so they can just land and try and deal with this army.
ShoWTimE starting to push out, though. I thought that engage from Clem was really good, but the way that ShoWTimE held it was so impressive. And now ShoWTimE's going to try to come in here and bash his way through this bottom location. He's never really been able to get in here and crack this, but he might be able to do it now since Clem is trying to rebuild.
Yeah, his army is permanently tagged here. That's the problem. And these storms, they're landing on top of these Vikings. They're all really low. As soon as you run out of Vikings, then the Tempests are going to rain supreme. That base, because he sniped it earlier, had to be replaced by an orbital that was already there. So that's not a planetary fortress. Easy to harass with just zealots. ShoWTimE doing a great job with his rhythm here and in guessing that that was going to be retaken.
Okay, some big shots over here with the Vikings. That Tempest number is really starting to thin out. Oh, but these shots here by the Stalkers, beautifully done. Now, ShoWTimE is still maxed out. Clem is playing catch-up, and things are starting to get very disorganized here from Clem. It seems like the gold base is basically isolated, and ShoWTimE can come in here and smash that.
He's using the terrain so well here, blinking, sniping some of those Medivacs.
This is one of the most technical PvTs I've seen as far as position plays are going.
ShoWTimE is just so incredibly solid. He's maxed out. He's going to start to build a bank. And I think Clem's just running out of forces there and out of options. He needs to take an engagement, and I think can go for it.
This is so beautiful. Look, he just backs up. He's taken out the base. Now it's Clem's problem.
Where are those SCVs going?
I have no idea. The Liberators are coming down. He's trying to target those Disruptors.
Yeah. Really well done, actually. There's only 3 of them left. But even just one will be a threat as long as it's got the Purification Nova up.
We saw that nukes are made. I don't know if we're going to see them as a factor this time around. Again, all of Clem's army bruised and battered, but it looks like he's going to try to go for a pin up here. And I don't believe this Protoss army can survive this.
Yeah, Vikings need to land here and help this, but I mean...
there's just not enough on the ground. Not enough at all. GG. ShoWTimE with his 2nd win here after the rematch from the draw. He's looking primed to move on, but it's not done yet.
Very well done from him, and this is what you expect in this kind of game.
Yeah.
If he's able to take no damage early on, go for a 3rd base, a 4th base, kind of uncontested, especially the 3rd base was very early, and it was completely undisturbed. As soon as he can bring up his probe counts that fast, in a game like this, you can expect trouble out of somebody like ShoWTimE. He doesn't really miss the upgrades he needs to get, goes for the right transitions, and I think caught Clem maybe a little bit off guard with the Disruptor, even though Clem was going to get ready with the Liberators. Just too solid as well at that style. Like you saw, like he used the Disruptor and Tempest so well together with the synergy.
You can see Clem was really doing a great job back there, but ShoWTimE was excellent at that chess game on the map Dreamcatcher. He really knew how to maneuver, and it's almost like it all started to fall apart at once. You saw that somehow the gold base, which Clem wanted to secure, which would have given him a lot of resources and a lot of momentum to try to push out and take out ShoWTimE's base, suddenly that base was completely isolated from all sides. The army of Clem's was zoned out, and that's when ShoWTimE's army pounced on that gold base. And from there, Clem just didn't have any options. Clem tried to pick a fight, see if he could win with pure control. ShoWTimE was having none of it.
Yeah, he used his army so well and the mobility of it. And it's, I mean, personally, like my experience against Liberators is that they're very hard to deal with if you engage into them, but those top Protosses, they're so good at making Liberators look like the worst unit in the game because they never engage into those liberation zones. They just dance around it endlessly and they pick off Terran units up until the point they've won the game.
It's funny because when we saw that last fight, I thought it might have gone a little bit better from Clem, but if you were watching the ground closely enough, you could see, no, ShoWTimE had this. All right, we're ready. Let's get hype. Let's make some noise. This is game 4. Out of the one game that we had with it was a draw here. ShoWTimE up with a 2-0 lead. In the bottom left, in the blue, give it up for Clem. I'm all over the place. Just taking my casting abilities to the limit. All right, let's see if I can do it better this time. In the upper right, in the red, our Protoss player. Make some noise for ShoWTimE.
You're getting paid to cast a best of 5, not a best of 5 with a draw in it.
Okay.
ShoWTimE with the early scouts. Honestly, at this stage, Clem might have to get a little bit more aggressive. Last game, I don't know, he was trying to go for the Cyclones and that just didn't work out at all. He was trying to surprise his ShoWTimE, but yeah, that didn't work out. I feel like playing the same way he did in the game that went into a draw, that ended up resulting in a draw, will be a lot better. With the Widowmine drops, with the Liberators, obviously it won't necessarily go as well in the start, but that was what brought him success. That was the one game where it looked like he might have been able to win at some point, so why not try that again?
That's right. We see the Nexus now coming down here for ShoWTimE. I'm really kind of rooting for Clem here, especially after that great game that did result in a draw where Clem could have possibly won. But ShoWTimE really showing why he is so feared all over the world in StarCraft 2. But this has got to be a little bit demoralizing for Clem. You know, ShoWTimE is such a veteran. He's been playing in tournaments for years and years. Clem's very young. He's 16, correct?
Yeah. 16
years old. So obviously new to the professional circuit, since this is like the age of entry here, is 16 years old to compete in WCS. And he's looking good. But no matter how good he looks, the result is not a win. And he's starting to run out of games here.
And Clem is going for concussive shells here early on, so he's going to be making some Marauders and maybe looking to try and catch some units on his side of the map. And I mean, ShoWTimE has been playing aggressive with his first few units, whether it was Stalkers, Adepts, Oracles being sent across the map. By the way, interestingly enough, the bracket currently has a ZVZ, a TvT, and Nibs waiting for the winner of this, so a potential PvP if ShoWTimE were to win. We've achieved perfect balance once again.
That's right, we've done it. Well, ShoWTimE's definitely looking like he should get out of this. Now, if Clem were to win this game, and then the next 2, that would be the craziest comeback we've seen this entire tournament. One thing I do wonder, though, is how does Clem handle fatigue? I mean, these games back-to-back like this, they're so stressful, they're so intense, and particularly that game 2 that resulted in a draw.
Yeah, I mean, he's 16 years old, come on.
Yeah,
we're old, these nuts.
That's true. At 16, I could eat mac and cheese all day and have a six-pack. For 2 hours of sleep and be fine, so maybe you're right. But that being said, you know, how does he manage stress? How does he manage pressure?
Yeah. I think he's probably easing into this match more and more as time passes by. I mean, this is technically, like you said, like map 4 of this series, and by now he's really got used of like the setup and the stage and all that, so it should be getting easier, but he's down 0-2. There is no room left for mistakes. He loses one map, he's out here, which will be a disappointment, I'm sure, even though he's already made round of 16, which is great. Definitely could go further and should want to.
It is kind of Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that previous game that ended in a draw really showed us that he can, and I think he's able to beat ShoWTimE, in my opinion, because that was almost his game.
It's cool to see how these guys, when you put them together, because whenever you get two great StarCraft players, it's kind of like chemistry, like you mix the two formulas together and sort of see how it interacts, and they definitely make for some really interesting late-game position plays. We have a lot of other games that end up becoming much more basic, but these are games you could go over again and again and again and
They're
try
like
to analyze.
Mentos and Coca-Cola.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Remember when you were in 4th grade and you made that little volcano or whatever and it foamed over?
That's Phil when you don't know anything about chemistry, so that's what you have to refer to.
That's the only way you could get interested in it is you see that volcano foam over. Well, that's what we have here now. STIM is about to be done, so I would imagine Clem will go out and try to put on some pressure, see how ShoWTimE reacts. But first, we're going to have a pause. And
tactical pause.
Tactical pause. So let's see what happens here. Usually we get these issues resolved pretty quickly, but sometimes sound. I know we've had this before where occasionally a player, especially a newer one, will accidentally mute the sound and not realize they've done it, thought they've lost sound because they're going so fast on their keyboards. Anyways,
in the past there's been series. I remember like in some WCS events when he played against people like Massa, where he would play very aggressive. He had like planned out build orders where he would get a lot of gateways, mass adepts, and just go for like massive attacks and stuff. In this series so far, he hasn't really done that. He's mostly kind of laid back, kept on expanding, played kind of like you would expect out of him a lot of the time, but not try to be unpredictable at all, which I guess he doesn't mind just because he's so solid overall. But yeah, we do have 2 Immortals now and some Sentries ready defensively, plus what shield battery. Clem investing a lot into this 3 barracks.
Great job there. Takes out half the Marauders in the army. I actually don't think Clem should be out here anymore. This could go really poorly. He stims. He's going to go for the dive. He takes out both the Sentries, but there are still 2 Marauders in the back here. Now, by killing those 2 Sentries, he's allowed to be able to escape, but of course, Stim does run out.
Yeah, he made the most of it, actually. If he had stayed more, he wouldn't have killed too much, and he would have lost all of his units. So actually being able to escape, he got some trades there. That wasn't too bad by Clem, I think. Like, obviously, you hope that you're going to be able to get some probes, but ShoWTimE is too sound defensively. And because he's going to Colossus production this game, there's definitely going to be some window in which he could go for attacks that are going to be very scary, because look how late the starport is. We've got Thermal Lance and the 2nd Colossus on the way here. So when ShoWTimE reaches the 3rd Colossi, grabs the Warp Prism and goes across the map, those timings are extremely scary for Terran to try and hold on against.
Yeah, you're completely right. I mean, this is very different from how ShoWTimE was playing earlier. He goes for a much more passive opening that is set up to have a push that could just crush through Clem. When you, like you were saying, when you have that many Colossi out, the damage, the splash damage is so high that it kind of melts the Terran ground army.
ShoWTimE already well set up on that 3rd base, going to start on saturating that. Going actually for armor upgrade here in this game. This stage, 2 more shield batteries being dropped down. He wants to make sure he's safe defensively on multiple fronts. And Bling now going to start as well from ShoWTimE. I really think that if he goes for an attack there, I guess maybe he's worried about a counter draw, but he would have recall even if that happens. But yeah, if he went for an attack with triple Colossi against just Bio and some Medivacs and no Vikings, like, all you have to do is not let the Terran split and kite his way back out of it, and you're going to be able to get a great fight, and a lot of the time end the game. But Clem are really looking to try and drop. There's so many pylons on the map. He's like synergizing pylons and observers, I think, to try and spot those coming.
He's going to try to get that one Warp Prism. You can see that ShoWTimE is just not having any of it. The drops are just not working. I think it would probably behoove Clem to try to come out here and just take out the rest of these pylons.
Yeah, I think that's the best move. And I think ShoWTimE made those pylons because his observers kept dying. So he was like, okay, you know what? I know that there is a long distance between my main and my 3rd base. So usually that's what Terrans are going to do. They're going to try to drop the main base and at the same time attack the 3rd, which in this case ShoWTimE anticipated. So he made a bunch of pylons around the map, and that allowed him to keep on producing Colossi instead of having to remake observers. Great move.
You know, if Clem can stay active on the map like this. Well, hold up a second. We got a big drop coming up here right now. And there's just 1 Colossus here. The rest of the army is unloading. The Terran spread is not bad, but there's now been enough unloaded. ShoWTimE's going to need more than this. He does not want to get that Colossus sniped down. An attack in the south was denied, but ShoWTimE is escaping with his Colossus here.
Oh, the Robo is going down here. He's going to get targeted. and it's actually going to die here. ShoWTimE trying to replace that immediately. Clem did lose a lot to clean that up, but now they attack into the third base. There is nothing there. Recalls available. I guess ShoWTimE is just going to run there to try and defend that, but he's lost some important probes there.
He's got some great control here. You can see the Army trying to move forward. Another mine hit hits those Zealots, getting softened up pretty heavily here. It's just those two Colossi and the Immortals that are really helping. Clem may try to dive in again. Knocking the Robotech out for a little bit should give Clem more momentum, but he needs to be careful. With an army that ShoWTimE still has, he's going to go for a flank. He's going to try to sandwich it.
He's going for the Maru attack here, jumping on top of the Colossi and sniping them, making sure that the bio is left over against just the Immortals and Gateway units.
Okay, he's taking out the last Colossus. It's just the two Immortals. But does he have enough? The Tier 1 ground army comes down. And once again, ShoWTimE punched that army across the map.
Yeah, and Liberator production has begun on the other side of the map from Clem. I don't think he has an Armory yet, actually. Yeah, he's going to drop that down now. So he's going to fall behind on upgrades. And now, essentially, this has been defended. Resetting the Colossi count is really nice, but has this done enough damage? No, I don't think so. ShoWTimE 67 walkers against the 48 of Clem.
I'm getting worried here. If Clem can't keep ShoWTimE occupied on his side of the base, the action on the map is going to seesaw over to this fresh third base. And by the way, a late third base here for Clem. Clem invested in aggression early on, so his economy is suffering. Oh my God,
it's going to go right.
Spot. It's the blind spot. It's going to come right in. But there's already Stalkers here. Fortunately, the medevacs in the front have no units in them.
Yeah, it's going to drop on top of the Stalkers. Yeah, the army of ShoWTimE is not too far. Clem, I think, looking to try and drop on the third base simultaneously here to try and do some more damage.
Oh, Liberator down there, actually. And another one over here at the natural. You can see this army's done a lot of damage. Looks like he wants to go for a pickup and try to escape. And the Stalkers do not manage to gun down the one weakened medevac.
Clem is being so aggressive. And, I mean, as much as ShoWTimE is defending well, it's still taking some damage here and there. But every time cleaning up that Terran army, it's really what's keeping him in this.
ShoWTimE, not deterred, is attempting to take a fourth base. We see the drop has now been landed over in this location. We don't see the army coming up here. It looks like they should come over here just barely in time. And this means the medevacs can be picked off as well.
ShoWTimE is everywhere. He's running all over the place. And every time he gets there on time, yeah, Liberator now going to get cleaned up as well. And 2-2 will complete now for ShoWTimE almost before that +2 attack started for Clem. So a great upgrade lead here. And now already having the fourth base is essentially defended now for some time. ShoWTimE might be the one attacking here in a moment.
Yeah, well, it seems like Clem wants to double down. He wants to pick a fight, and he thinks he can confidently do it over here. But now ShoWTimE has the option to try to counterattack like we're seeing right here. Clem does not have the time to try to go clean that up while still doing this attack.
He's trying to siege where ShoWTimE's not ready, but ShoWTimE's always ready. He's just so good defensively. He keeps on moving his army very, very smartly there. Doesn't overextend.
Okay, ShoWTimE should not try to push through this. And so, he sees that he's unsieging. ShoWTimE goes for it. And with the disruptors here, this is going to be hard.
Yeah, the disruptors are really so scary. One of them gets sniped. They have already both shot. ShoWTimE trying to pull back. Two more disruptors come out. I don't think Clem can chase.
I don't think so. I think Clem has to go back and respect this. And now it means that ShoWTimE's operating on 4 bases. He's still got plenty of workers. It's inevitable that ShoWTimE's going to come across the map with a big push. He's got these Zealots. Now, this is keeping the Terran honest more than it is slowing down the Terran's economy.
Actually, this was really bad.
Yeah, this was, I think, one of the first larger mistakes. He probably should not have that many Zealots over there. Clem's going to go ahead and take the base over here in the center left. Now, I don't know if ShoWTimE's giving this part of the map that much attention.
Not yet.
But ShoWTimE's finally deciding to push. We see the army parading through the middle of the map, while Clem is itching to possibly do an attack over here at the north, but he's going to have to go back and try to defend at home first.
Yeah, I think Clem, if he had been further across the map, he might have gone for the counterattack, and we might have had another base straight into a draw, but now he's just going to walk back and try and fight this on his side of the map. There's just so many disruptors. He's going to come in from behind and pull SCVs.
Clem's trying to hit on all these different locations. Great kills on some of those SCVs. ShoWTimE's army is starting to get smaller and smaller. Force fields come down, allowing ShoWTimE to buy a little bit more time to try to escape. But the army of Clem is curbing around those force fields, and we see some disruptors starting to get taken out.
Oh my God, these disruptors connect big time here. ShoWTimE reinforcing with the War Prism. 3-3's on the way for him, actually, and he's going to finish very soon. He's cleaning up this Terran army right now. Clem overextended.
GG. Nicely done. I got to say, ShoWTimE is such a god, but Clem really holding his own. An incredible series. A lot of times when you have a 3-0 victory, you assume it wasn't a great match, but that was a treat to cast, a treat to watch, and I love that draw game.
Yeah, Clem is only 16. He's got a lot of time ahead of him to try and leave his impact on the StarCraft scene. He will come back stronger and learn from this, but for now it's ShoWTimE. That was just too solid. And I'm so happy we'll get the PvP we deserve in Neeb versus ShoWTimE in the next round tomorrow.
I'm really glad I got to cast a series like that. Smix, how is ShoWTimE feeling after that awesome 3-0 plus the draw?
Well, Nick, let's hear from him himself. ShoWTimE, congratulations. You get revenge on him for the loss that you had all the way back in Austin. It's a 3-0, but it wasn't quite as simple as the 3-0 would suggest. So what are your first thoughts now that you're moving forward?
It was definitely not easy. Like, I think PvT is kind of hard for me, so it always feels a bit weird to play because I don't have like super confidence in the matchup. Never sure exactly what to do, but yeah, the games were kind of sloppy, I would say, kind of back and forth, but yeah, I'm happy.
And obviously, I need to bring up that first Dreamcatcher game because it was just so bizarre. It turned into a base trade, and then it was like this dance that you guys were doing back and forth, and you were, we saw you laughing quite a few times. So what was going through your head during that whole map?
I was having a good time. Like, in the early game, I took a lot of damage against his Widowmine drop, I think, so I was a bit behind. And then I tried to go a bit base tradey, move around his army, and then it turned eventually into the weird base trade, and he had like all the micro potential on his side, I guess, after I lost my Stalkers, so I couldn't do much besides like taking my units in the A move, you know, so yeah, it was pretty fun.
It was definitely fun for us to watch as well, but luckily you did move forward with that 3-0. Now you're going to be facing Neeb. It's a rematch. Earlier in this event, we did see that he took you down 2-1. That being said, he's not feeling very confident against you. In fact, he said straight up that he'll lose. What do you think that's, like, what are your thoughts going up against him again?
It's just Neeb always being a bit humble, you know, I think. Like, I know he's struggling a bit in Korea, practicing against the Korean brothers, but I think even if it's his worst, if he goes like 50-50 against the top Koreans, it's still pretty good, right? So for me, PvP is my best win rate-wise, but I think we still match up kind of evenly, so I don't think he should be too worried or I should be overly confident. Should be a close match.
Definitely, you guys have always produced such great series to watch. Definitely looking forward to it. We'll see that tomorrow, but for now, let's head back to the desk with Nathanius.
Thank you very much, Smix. After a grueling, and I think, dare I say, as ShoWTimE put it, sloppy series.
Oh, wow.
Very messy, aggressive drops everywhere. ShoWTimE comes out on top.
I don't know, it's just schleppy.
I mean,
It's Uthermal's last name.
Uthermal has been doing very well in this tournament.
It's a great series.
Uthermal's games were not so sloppy, though.
No, they were pretty
clean.
cut and dry.
Yeah, pretty clean.
The opposite of schleppy.
Well polished, you know. Not a spot of dirt.
Yeah.
Maynard, how'd you enjoy that TvP?
I loved it, man. I mean, it was a good time. The score is pretty indicative of the series, I'd say, even though that first attempt at Dreamcatcher was very, very close for Clem. A few of us in the back room were saying that we thought that Clem had that one on a silver platter, but I mean, it's so tough to make the correct decisions when you're in a really, really rough game like that. And who knows if we're right or wrong in the end there. We're only commentators. We're just those plebs that are on stage. We're not out there actually playing the game.
Shout out to the hero Archon with 21
that
kills.
Archon.
the deal sealer, as it were. And then, of course, going back to that rematch.
And its shield battery, which came in pretty handy there.
Yeah.
Disrupt is really playing a huge part in the series as well. Like, once again, on Dreamcatcher and in this map on Lost and Found there, it was a little bit too hard for Clem to deal with, especially without advanced ballistics as Liberators.
Are they too good in control?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, but I got the, I had the sickest just like, I feel like Clem has so much more to show, and it's not like we don't say that as a like, wow, it was really disappointing, you played beneath yourself. I think he's doing everything right. We're seeing a lot of great mechanics, great decision making. He's going up against ShoWTimE in the round of 16. Like, that is, you know, a very tough place to be, and yet it was still, while it was still a 3-0-1 series, it was a very good series. And I think, if he can kind of keep improving on this, get a little bit more experience underneath his belt, man, this kid is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, to keep in mind that he's just started his career. Like Rainer, he's only just
16.
old enough. He's only just old enough now to play WCS, so he's very, very early stages. ShoWTimE's a veteran, so I think with games like that, he's got a ton of potential.
Got a lot of StarCraft ahead of him, and that does mean ShoWTimE moves on in the bracket. Will be facing off against Neeb. Neeb's prophecy comes true as he will have that series against ShoWTimE. 3 mirrors for our top 8 so far. Next up is Nurchio versus Harstem, then Haas versus Kellizer. I mean, if it has to be a mirror, then that means that Harstem and Haas both have to win, which means that Artosis' doomsday prophecy of Haas winning this tournament comes closer to getting true.
Well, Artosis picked a few people to win this tournament, I guess, so far. So it's kind of like it's a hit list at this point in time.
It's
like
like
Haas is next up.
0-3 at the moment with predictions on these ones.
You know, Artosis works in mysterious ways. Sometimes he'll predict a winner, and then like 7 years later, when that guy does win a tournament, be like, "I told you, I knew it was happening." We're
Just
like,
because I said he'd win Katowice didn't mean I meant this year. You know,
time's an ephemeral. It's a weird thing. Anyways, I tried to say a really big word there, and
Ephemeral. Wow.
yeah.
you go ahead. My jet lag brain is like potato, and I'm like, well,
Your jet lag brain. Okay.
I didn't.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right,
I was
you're
going
right.
to say he's got one up on us.
You've been taking the hobbits to Mordor for a while.
I think Isengard.
Isengard, dang it!
Would
Every
beware.
joke I make's terrible. Okay, next segment.
All right.
Let's just move on to the next game. Let's just load it up
match, ladies and gentlemen, as we get into the Protoss versus Zerg. Finally, those dastardly Terrans are going to be taking a break. Get them out of here for this next series. It's
Wow,
Nurchio
Nurchio's picture
versus Harstem.
Very threatening. I
Is
would
he?
run
I
from
don't think
Nurchio if I saw him in a dark alley.
He is very clean shaven in this image.
He
It doesn't look like Nurchio.
It doesn't look real.
There's
Yeah,
no-
that's what I was gonna
there's
say.
no
It doesn't
hair
look
on his
like
body
Nurchio.
in that picture. How did that happen?
He's
Photoshop.
maybe
It's
a
pretty
little overly touched up there, but I'm sure he's feeling good for this series.
You know the movie John Travolta and Powder, I think? This
Maybe.
is before a lot of your
Yeah.
guys' time.
Maybe.
Holy cow, I'll tell you what. Struck by lightning, that one. This will be a great series. I can't wait.
My mind always goes to face off. Ladies and gentlemen, our next series coming up after the break. We're going to get into Nurchio versus Harstem. You're watching the World Championship Series.
Wow.